Meeting called to order at 5:36, and we'll start with the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I think, although not strictly on order, we ought to read the mission statement. So,
Shall I?
viewers, yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay. The Lower Green Historic District Study Committee, our mission statement is: the duly appointed Newbury Lower Green Local Historic District Study Committee is responsible for conducting an investigation to determine the desirability and feasibility of establishing a local historic district inclusive of the Newbury Lower Green, considering the historic significance of all buildings, structures, features, sites, or surroundings that would be included in such proposed local historic district. Our purpose and goal: to protect the historic Newbury Lower Green and the natural and built environment surrounding it for future generations to enjoy and experience the visual sense of the past history of our town. A local green, local historic district will create neighborhood stabilization and community pride and forever provide Newbury school children with a playing field and educational opportunities. The intent of this local historic district is to maintain and improve the settings of those buildings and places to encourage new designs compatible with existing buildings in the district.
Very good, thank you. Okay, moving on, a review and approve minutes from the March 13th meeting.
So moved?
Okay, I've just got one thing, it says draft on the top.
That's because we haven't
we
approved them yet.
Oh, see, we then approve.
And then I will say approve the top and bottom.
Good.
So moved?
Motion. Seconded.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, so noted. Right.
One quick question. Is that mission statement something that we want to read at the beginning of every future meeting?
Yes.
This is the mission statement.
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. And
Not
then
purpose.
just to confirm, that is something that we want on our website as well, correct?
Yes.
If I can figure out how to.
Yeah, very good, yeah.
Okay.
You're talented.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, next. We've got letters ready to go out to the various bodies who would be interested and hopefully involved: Trustees Reservation, Greenbelt, and sons and daughters of the first settlers, which I think can be issued following this meeting. Standard letters. I'd just like to add there, on that subject, as it's another body, is I've actually spoken to the committee of the first settlers burying ground, so I didn't get around to doing a letter, partly because I didn't know where they were, but the members of the committee are totally behind any involvement and appreciate being included and will give their input as needs be. In addition, they have said they have a full right of way of access from the road to the settlers' ground, granted in perpetuity, although they don't own it. It's like an easement.
And that's across the property to the left? you think? Or did they mention
Across the
where it was?
property,
To the
from the
right.
road to the, yes, where the entrance gate is.
I'm just wondering
yeah.
who they have the easement on.
Right.
Mr.
This
Story's land.
Okay.
He's completely
To
surrounded.
the left.
So
not
is it
not
yeah.
is it a buffer or is it just the path
The
to?
path.
Okay, the path.
And so that can be included in any map work we do. And also they're in extremely good relations with the owners, so will help in any negotiating. They're effectively on side. So at this stage, I don't think we need to send them a letter of a similar nature. We'll just leave it and just make sure they're competent and nothing relevant.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just a question on that topic. So we've been in touch with one of the burying grounds.
Yes.
Are we going to do like a letter or try to get in touch with the other two burying grounds? The one across the bridge and Evergreen, or?
I think we should.
I think so too.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Let's,
Okay, I'd be happy to do a letter.
Do we know who manage them? They're not. We don't.
We know who owns them.
We know who
I
owns
don't
them.
know if we know who specifically to address
Who's-
a letter to,
Right.
but that
If we can find out
is
and-
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
before the next meeting.
They may be independent, like I was in
Yeah.
I was on one of these boards and it was a nonprofit. and
Right,
we-
right.
We owned the, actually
Friends
owned the
of
property.
maybe, or, yeah.
Just for the purposes of minuting, we've made contact with the first settlers burying ground. The contact is Bruce Ilsley,
Can you spell his last name for me? Or,
ILSLEY,
oh.
Yes.
as in.
How dare you not know?
I recognize
Okay.
that. Fantastic.
And Anthony Matthews. Okay. Moving on, the FAQs. Which I didn't have time to look at.
So I was working on these fairly close to the beginning of this meeting, so
Right.
folks may have not gotten a chance to review them completely. I'm happy to read out some of the sections I have.
Yes, please.
Yep.
So my first one was, what is a local historic district? So a description that pulls directly from the Act, talking about preserving and protecting distinctive characteristics of buildings and places significant in the history of the Commonwealth and its cities and towns, maintaining and improving the settings of those buildings and places, and especially encouraging new designs that are compatible with existing buildings in the district. Another section is, how is a local historic district created? One of the important parts, I think, is what are the advantages of a local historic district? And in this, I include they encourage reinvestment, they provide stability, they make sure that new construction or renovation activity will be respectful of the existing character of the community and its architecture. It's also something that is useful in increasing property values. It's used by real estate agents in many communities as a marketing tool to sell properties. And finally, I wanted to include that even though it's not as quantifiable, that it allows us to have a tangible link with our past.
Nice.
On that one is, how is it created, that one?
Yeah.
We're not a city council,
Oh, I'm
Here.
sorry.
so, and it's 2/3 majority vote of the at town meeting, so the
Town.
citizens.
Yep, so I have the final step is the passage of the historic district bylaw of a 2/3 majority vote at town meeting.
Oh, mine says city council.
Mine's-
May have been an older
mine's-
draft.
Oh, right.
This was
I told you I was working on these very quickly.
Got it.
Okay, so you correct that.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for that,
now,
though.
is it proposed we post this on the
Oh, I think that's
Oh, yeah.
the purpose of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a few questions? I apologize,
Yeah.
I've not had time to review them. But did you happen to look at the guidance that we got from MHC? They have a section of FAQs as well.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you pulled any of those.
Yep,
Yeah,
so I've
do you want
used,
to have a look
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
I've used, from their kind of guidebook, there's a section on getting
Yeah, page
started.
16.
Yeah.
Frequently asked questions.
Frequently
wonderful.
asked questions. So some of the important ones that I pulled from there are, one of them is, if my house is included in the local historic district, does it mean that I need to make my house look more historic?
Right.
No.
Or what's the process, you know?
Yeah.
What is this, what hoops are we creating essentially in the bureaucratic process of
Yeah.
permitting, so.
So, for the first part, I said you can maintain the current look of your house as long as you would like. A local historic district only reviews proposed changes to exterior architectural features. Routine maintenance, interior changes, and exterior features that are not visible from a public way are exempt from review. Another section is, isn't this just another level of bureaucracy? And it says, well, it's true that there's an additional step needed for some project. The benefit of protecting the community's rich architectural heritage outweighs that inconvenience. A local historic district does not halt change or development, but rather provides a forum to engage in constructive dialogue on how to make sure it matches the character of the existing buildings and the neighborhood context. Without a local historic district, a building could be demolished or irreparably altered at any time once a 9-month demolition delay expires.
One thing I might
Demolition delay bylaw is 9 months.
9 months, yeah.
suggest adding is, one of the things I find with homeowners is oftentimes they don't even know that, one, they're in a historic district, if one already exists. It's one of my biggest pet peeves on town websites that a map is not readily available on all of them. I don't understand why that is. But they leave it to their contractor, and it is under the contractor's purview to get the necessary permits, and that often includes going through a historic district commission if they're in one. But that also means that a lot of contractors are very well aware of the process and know how to go through it, because Massachusetts has over 200 of these historic districts already. So by and large, it's not an overly burdensome problem for them to complete.
I like that.
So something to do with, it's not, it is a known part of the construction process in a lot of communities, and so it is not unduly burdensome.
All right, sounds great. I'll add that in. I do have a list of things that we may or may not want to include. You can strike it if you'd like. But I wanted to kind of give folks an idea of the things that would be considered for review and things that just would not be considered for review at all. Again, noting that the review process does not halt construction, it doesn't eliminate it, it just allows for discourse. So
It's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
So some of the examples of alterations that would be reviewed, again, not shut down, just reviewed, would be roofing and gutters, chimneys and brickwork, fences, gates and walls, and accessory structures such as sheds and garages. The things that would not be subject to review at all would be any work that's not visible from a public way, walkways or terraces that are at a low grade, paint colors. This is something that we can decide on as a committee, but another one potentially could be storm windows, storm doors, exterior light fixtures, reconstruction work using similar materials to the original if there were to be any kind of disaster. So as long as things were used as like material, they would be in compliance. And work where there was no exterior architectural features involved. So any kind of interior work.
One thing, the second to last comment you made at first, you said similar materials, and then you said like materials. Just a differentiation, those are very different. A lot of people would view vinyl cladding as similar to wooden cladding, but it's not. Right, so like for like, no review.
All right.
Similar is a gray area.
All right.
And then
Perfect.
in the first one, it's yes, roofs are the things that you listed as being changes that would require review. They would not require review if they were like for like replacements. So if you want to replace your correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but if you want to replace your asphalt roof with an asphalt roof, you do not have to go before the Historic District Commission. for that approval. If you want to change your wooden roof to an asphalt roof, or even your asphalt roof to a wooden roof, you would.
All right,
That's
perfect.
my understanding.
I will.
So if you want to reclad your side because it's falling apart and it's wooden with wooden, you can go ahead and do that without review.
All right. And again, if there was the review process, it doesn't eliminate that possibility.
Correct.
Um,
Oh yeah, I'm sure anyone would be absolutely happy if someone went from an asphalt roof to a wooden roof.
I'd love
And
to.
it's very expensive these days. So yeah.
The other thing is as well is we're not like the planning committee.
Correct,
So
we're not.
No,
as a group, and whatever's done has to be done within, apart from these as guidelines, whatever is legally.
Absolutely.
I don't know whether that is worth sort of. It's as though someone might read that and the suggestion may be, I can go ahead. I mean, I know that
Right,
they
but
would,
we're instead of?
we're
Right,
we're not instead of. Yeah,
Correct.
Yes.
we're
Correct. In addition
in
to.
it. Yes, any local requirements. Yeah, just don't want someone to say, oh yeah, it was all right
Yeah,
too.
we got- and they said it was okay.
Yeah,
Right.
highly unlikely because contract exactly as you said. We'll have to.
Right, no,
Yeah.
that they have to get a permit.
Yes,
To
yes,
do it,
right,
and you don't have a
right.
permit
But it
except from
just
the planning
just
board.
gets it off our
Absolutely,
plate,
yeah,
just in
absolutely.
case
It's more like we're
some legally
quality
minded
control,
someone
if
says,
you will.
Yeah.
I got
Or
some.
they, not us.
Right.
I think it's important too that once we get the boundary set up, we know which houses are in it, that we get that information to town hall, so that, it's easily accessible, that people come in and getting permits, or by the building inspector, or the people that give the permits.
It has to be in the bylaw that's registered with the deed, or in the registry, and, I will make sure if we ever reach that point with this committee, that there is a tab on the website, under the historic district link that has the map right there, so that every
Nice.
property is listed.
wonderful.
It's just too easy to
Wonderful.
say,
I didn't
geez,
know.
I didn't
it was
know,
on
yeah.
that.
Well, and
Oh, that's
to
wonderful.
be frank, it's
Good.
obscene how difficult it is to find out. I know that that's because a lot of these districts were created when everything was analog. And so
Yeah.
a lot of the old study reports, for instance, are handwritten, and the map is, you can't even read it. It's
Right.
a scanned document that is so faded. Like Rowley, I was looking at Rowley today, and that's the case. But some of them are very good and have, here's the map, boundaries, thank you, so
Wonderful,
helpful.
wonderful.
So, yes,
That's
absolutely.
a very good point.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
needs to be accessible and easy for the public to navigate and to know what to do, what forms they need, and whether they're in it.
And also, we want to assure homeowners and the community that we're not the committee of thou shall not.
Right.
We're about preserving the area for future generations. We're not looking to crawl down anyone's throat, with saying, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
At this point especially, we're just studying the possibility of establishing
Right.
a local historic district.
We are a study group.
We are
We're
a study
not-
Study.
group,
We
right,
are
a study
not
committee.
full.
We are not.
And what
Right.
makes sense to include in it and what not.
Yeah.
Right, so on that kind of point, I wanted to bring something up. I was rereading the MHC, Massachusetts Historical Commission's guidelines and suggestions for the process that we take. And one of the things that I kind of noticed, and I know we think of ourselves as being very, very, very early in this process, right? We're still doing research on boundaries, but that's not how we are being perceived by the public.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I think that we need to take a step as soon as possible to engage with the public.
Correct.
I
Purposefully.
can, we're going to come on to
Okay,
exactly
wonderful.
that. Yeah, very good. Good to mention it though.
I totally agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and I agree, and it leads to the next point. Right? We finish.
With
Yeah,
FAQs.
FAQs,
Let's,
right?
yeah, let's.
Which goes to.
Are you, Madison, I
Um,
think there's more in there.
You're welcome to read through it.
Yeah.
So other things that I've included are kind of what the process would be. If you did have a building that was located in a local historic district and you were hoping to do some construction or proposing changes to the building, so it goes through that. the difference between zoning versus this. This is not zoning. Zoning regulates use. Historic districts do not. Will my taxes go up? No, property taxes are tied to real estate values, so this doesn't have any direct relationship to tax rates. And there are two parts at the end. One, I wanted to include the question of, are there any other historic districts in Newbury, and what the difference between a local historic district and the Upper Green, which is a National Register district. And finally, something that I would love some maybe discourse on is environmental impacts of historic districts, and what sort of allowances for solar or things like that.
Oh,
there
good
would
point.
be in the
Very good
Very
point.
good point,
process.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that does not have to go in, it's just something that came up
We need
in
to
my research.
put some research on that.
It's, unfortunately, one of the, how do I say this? One aspect of historic districts and other communities is that they do review renewable energy sources by and large, because they come under the purview of additional structures. And so even ground mounted solar arrays, for instance, would be under review unless they are specifically excluded. So that's something to consider. And in many communities, preservation is viewed as being almost anti-renewable.
Oh, no.
And seeing this clash between preservation and climate action, which we really don't want to.
No.
Yeah, they don't need to be enemies,
no.
right? They can work in tandem, right? The best climate change is, what is that famous saying? The greenest building is the one already built.
Oh,
That's absolutely true, right? And so I think that's something we should consider, whether that's a by and large exclusion of solar or more nuanced in terms of maybe solar not on a facade roof facing high road or something, things that kind of limit its. But yes, we need to address that as being, we are pro climate action.
Yes. And it should be getting to your FAQs as well. So
Yeah, I think we should at least mention it about it.
Right.
Yeah.
that's a really great
This doesn't
point.
mean you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
make your house green. Yeah.
yeah, No, that's wonderful. A lot of antique homes, especially the older ones, face south,
Mhm,
to
right, for
take
sunlight.
advantage of the
Absolutely.
sunlight,
Mhm. And right, like High Road is a north-south road, correct?
Mhm.
So a lot of them would face south.
Mine faces south.
Yeah, and so that might be it might
And I was
be,
thinking of doing solar as well.
Were you?
Yes.
yeah.
Well, you
so-
can.
I
No,
mean,
I'm just kidding, everyone.
No,
Just
no,
kidding.
absolutely,
Nope,
do
that was
solar.
a joke.
Not on the,
Um,
but anyway.
The other possibility with this, Madison, that we can discuss is with the FAQs, potentially, maybe under that section, is maybe putting a link to our own white papers.
Sure.
So Historic New England has done a lot of research on our own houses, because we own, every
Yeah.
phase of
Yeah.
colonial house.
Right.
And we've done both energy audits as well as retrofits that are now at least 10 years old, to prove that there are ways to sensitively upgrade your house without losing its integrity, but doing it in a sensitive way. So that would be something, a good resource to kind of point people to.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna
Yep, I'll do some
tidy up, do
updates.
it, shoot it around, and we'll
And if anybody thinks of
Come
any other
back.
questions that would be coming up in people's
Yeah.
mind that we should add,
And
just let me
we'll-
know and we'll work on it.
and we'll get it into the next.
This can also be an organic document. If we come up with any
Very
in our
much
Yeah, yeah,
discussion with the public, we can
Right.
always add them.
right. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, moving on, the important one here, proposed district boundaries and non-contiguous monuments and sites. Just before we get into this, in view of what's, the sort of preliminary discussions we've had, I'm just sort of want to throw this out for the committee regarding the whole proposed boundary, and I'm thinking for the purposes of our study, the committee's study at the moment, that any property within the area that's currently undergoing some form of refurbishment or restoration or development development. So it's in process, which, you know, we can't do things that sort of could be difficult, are excluded from the study, but to be taken up subsequently, you know, depending on how long the study and time goes.
So to clarify,
something that's been done right now, a property owner who may be either in process of or have it ready to go as we've come into summer.
are we talking about new houses being built?
No, we're talking
Existing.
about homes that are, perhaps have been newly purchased and are undergoing renovation, restoration. You know, what was your language on that, Robin? You made some-
Undergoing restoration, refurbishment or development. That sort of is fairly vague. So it's sort of work in either about to start or in progress. That because whatever we don't want the sort of position that you have retroactive sort of someone's started something and then suddenly sees, well, if I'd known about all this, it may have changed things or not, if the train has been going through.
So for example, if there are people who currently don't want to be included in our historic district because of renovation or, you know, restoration or some construction that they're doing on their properties,
Right.
right now, that doesn't mean that subsequently, sometime in the future, that they can be considered for the historic district later on, you know.
I had a chat with the Massachusetts Historic Commission on this, and their views, I mean, they're various things they can do. Is one is they suggest exactly your points, is that you engage with them one-on-one to explain what thinks going to happen, and indeed this may allay any sort of fears that this is going to be a very penal arrangement. So, or to, you know, you have the whole gambit of discussions, but in effect is they sort of did suggest that you may come across this, because if there's some work in progress at the moment, it sort of can get problems. So it may be you skirt around it for the moment, and then when completed, the property owner can say, oh, fine, it's if they want to their property included or not. I mean, I'm not suggesting they have the power to do that.
I have a few questions about that, and one concern or so. I understand kind of where this is coming from and how that could be a good idea at the moment. My one concern is if we don't continue to engage people who are undergoing work, we may be accused of keeping them out of the loop as this process.
Yes.
The process
I
is
totally agree. This is
Yes.
not. That's not what is the intention at all. Yeah, I mean,
Right,
I absolutely
right.
agree, because
So
indeed they
ignored you for a
may
year.
once you've gone through a lot of these things, say, oh, you know, that's fine. You know, it was all part of the plan anyway.
Right.
It's just that it's the not knowing, right? So
Right.
the engagement is actually should be done first and foremost.
Yeah,
and
and
that
then
way,
I mean,
this may not be a problem at all.
Right. One thing to say, and I mean, this becomes a little bit more hairy as this gets closer and closer to the public meeting and town meeting.
Right.
But any current work is grandfathered in, right? It doesn't. It's not under this purview, even if it's
Right.
if they have permits and are undergoing work. They
Yeah.
already went through the process.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can't
Yes.
Yeah,
retroactively.
that's
Right,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. Yes,
Exactly.
So, and that applies up until it is
Up until-
passed by town.
right,
Up until it's
which may be, you know, a ways down the road.
18 months, 2
2
years. Like,
Yeah.
so this could apply to a lot of properties
Correct.
Right.
in the time. So yes, I think that it's right.
It's MEC said, yeah, this could
I'm
be
sure it's a
tricky
common-
thing, but
quite a
yeah,
common
absolutely,
problem,
and they prepared there, and indeed their principal thing is what we've all discussed is engagement
Right,
first.
yeah,
It's because otherwise you get rumour and sort of thing going around about, this is a draconian system.
attempting to
And-
thwart our efforts
yeah.
to make our
And
home
about
livable.
paint colour or can I,
Right, no.
things like
I'd
that.
like
Which it
to
is,
state,
which
we
is,
are not
which is not,
covering
no,
paint color.
no, which is not, no, I mean, that's the example. Okay, that's good, but you're right,
Okay.
they keep the dialogue going with all.
Yeah,
the-
any public outreach, I think they would still be
Yeah.
included in that list,
Indeed,
but
yeah,
not pressuring it.
And we'll get the appropriate feedback, and then that will
Yeah.
go into the wash when we come round to finalising the report.
Right,
So,
right.
okay, right. So, any further on that item?
Oh,
You
yes,
want to-
yes, I have a few updates on that, specifically with non-contiguous monuments, because we had questions last time about it's a stone marker.
Yes.
Over at the old landing, I believe, on the
Yes.
north, I'm forgetting what exactly it's called,
Yeah.
but it is far away from the
Right.
potential district.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
not-
the landing,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
landing place of the actual landing place of the first settlers.
Right.
And it's a little bit, I haven't found any precedent for including something that doesn't have its own boundaries. Now, we can choose with regards to the entire district, we don't have to go on property boundary, it's recommended. But we could choose anything, so if there's a railroad line that goes at a spot that we would like to choose, that's something, we just have to justify our boundaries and say why and specifically what they are. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that we include this marker, which to the story that we are trying to preserve is important, right? It is the mark of the first landing on the Park River for settlers. But how we specifically say that is because it could be impacted if it's in the right of way, which I think you said
It is.
it is in the right of way,
Yes,
so
it
it's
is.
town owned,
Yeah.
technically. If road work is done,
Right.
technically anything could happen to it.
Is it preserved anyway? It's just a marker, is it? Can someone dig it up and...
Good luck with that.
I mean, if they wanted to, it could, but if they wanted to, if the town came in and wanted to repave that road and decided
to move it?
to sand it down even, or to get rid of it,
Yeah.
they technically could. I don't think they would, but they could, so.
I
No.
believe that it's under the purview of the first settlers, the sons and daughters of the first settlers.
Oh, do you, okay, that's,
I believe it is.
okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know,
Yeah,
certainly we should check that.
I'll look
Um,
at
But my
that.
point of that is if we wanted to include it, we would need to determine, like a surveyor does, how far from each point of the stone we would want to preserve, whether that's 2 feet, 5 feet, whatever it is.
So the stone and a buffer.
Yeah, but what that buffer is, it's slightly arbitrary, so we just, I think it's, I mean, even 1 foot might be enough, just around that it doesn't get moved.
Yes, it's a good point.
Yeah, so, and then even so much as taking measurements, if you read like the right-of-way easement that First Settlers has through their abutting land, if you read the rest of the easement, it will say those horrible long words of 5.5 feet north from the northwest corner of that kind of language.
10 rods.
Yeah. It means nothing to me, but it means something to property surveyors. So that might be the type of language that we would need to determine and actually go out there and measure it.
Okay, I'll do that. I'd be happy to do that.
Right. So what's the bottom line is, are we going,
We can.
if all things being equal, it's going to be included, yep?
Yes.
Is that what,
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's what we landed on, it's
Okay.
just how do we,
how do we do it?
And also for the Plummer Inn, the former Plummer Inn,
I would propose the same.
that would be the same thing.
Yeah.
that one is
On
on
High
a
Road.
property that is being considered for the district though.
Yes. Oh,
So
okay.
it would
I
be-
see
we
what you
could
mean. It's
call it out,
contiguous.
yes,
Right,
but
it's contiguous. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
The other non-contiguous would be First Settlers burial grounds and that south of the river, which are easy because we have property
You
boundaries.
just raised a sort of question here. I don't know what the burial ground, whether it owns the wall around it, or is it just the ground, I presume. We can find out. I mean, that's...
I mean, it would find out, but I say it would impact if work was being done, it wouldn't impact how we write the report,
No.
I think, because we're going to our property boundary. So
Right.
if it's inside, then it would be covered, if outside, not.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, we have a question from the audience.
Oh my goodness.
Hi.
Right, we better.
Can't see you over there.
I know, this is like so appropriate.
Yes, perfectly.
Well, I
The
think
First
the
Settlers
committee
Burial Ground is
recognises-
owned by the town. We know
So-
that, right?
Yes.
Wait, the
It is.
chair
The
recognizes?
chair recognises, yeah.
Just to make sure everybody is aware of that.
Like,
Because I know it's come up before with other people.
it's
What did you
not-
say?
The First Settlers Burial Ground is
Yes.
owned by the town.
Right,
It is the only cemetery or burial ground that the town actually owns.
Oh,
Yes, but it is in the care of the sons and daughters of the first settlers.
It is in the care of a,
the trustees of a board.
yeah.
that
it
is
I think
appointed by the town.
That's the other
It's not necessarily First
cemetery, I
Settlers.
think.
The burial ground of the first settlers, I mean, the assessor's portal could be inaccurate. I think we determined it doesn't have this year's information.
Right.
But it lists as being owned by the town of Newbury in the care of the sons and daughters of the first settlers.
Yeah, and it's run by a board of 3 people
Who
Um,
are
who
they
are
members of sons and
elected
Yeah.
by the town.
by the
Yeah.
who
This
is
is
it?
the
By
one.
people?
Mm.
Like it's on the ballot sort of elected?
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I'm trying to make sure you guys
Yeah.
understand this.
Okay.
Right,
and who are they? I'm not in terms
It's
of
on the
names.
town website, actually.
it's on the town,
That
this is
doesn't- but who-
those
like in
guys,
terms
yeah. He's the guy I spoke to, the.
That's Mr. Isley is on there,
Mr. Isley.
and,
Are these people
Brendan.
members of the sons and daughters? Are they town officials? Are they
Well, that's sort of a
just private
blurred line.
citizens
Yeah, it's
that
sort
are
of, they,
interested?
traditionally they have been,
Okay.
but I believe that it's a little bit broader now.
Okay.
Since Mr. Cunningham, it was really Richard Cunningham that, preserved that site because it was neglected for a long time. And I believe it was in
It's on our
76,
Dropbox.
76-ish, that, he took the initiative to do something about the preservation of this burial ground.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
you're welcome. All the cemeteries are on the town website, and you might be able to find information there about anybody that's overseeing. I'm not sure, because I haven't really looked in detail, but it does give you all
Because
the graves.
we're proposing the others as well along the end of, are we?
Well, that's what I
know
was
the
saying,
others.
I've got questions on some of these
Okay.
numbers that are missing. 21 is missing, which is the cemetery.
Which,
That's
No.
21, right?
Yeah, I think that's the cemetery.
I
right?
think that's.
21 is Evergreen
That's the
Cemetery.
property next to it where the tree had fallen down.
Oh, there's the road going.
are we asking about
Here's the
20?
curve.
And no, 20 is not a cemetery.
20 is owned by trustees.
Trustees,
Yeah, it's not-
trustees.
Yeah,
it
so
doesn't even
that's
matter.
where the tree fell.
Evergreen Cemetery is 9 Cottage Road, and it's listed as being owned by,
Well, this could be
Evergreen
included to the
Cemetery.
trustees.
which is very helpful.
Yeah. Do we know anything?
I don't know what that means.
Do we know who Evergreen Cemetery is?
All of them are privately owned, ironically, it's just,
Yeah.
there's been a group that's always been in charge of taking care of them, and if you need to get permits to use it, you have to go through them.
Because they're still there.
Yeah.
Them is.
It's something you just never think about.
Okay, no.
That'd be included.
Yeah, we just don't want to leave anyone out of the loop.
No, we ought to find out.
Okay, so it's not included.
Well, they
Not-
have
didn't
to,
make this.
no, I
There'll
don't
be a
actually know. Our
reference.
cemeteries, all right, there's a very basic question. Our cemetery, do they pay property tax?
Also, Greenbelt Road.
They must do, yeah.
Sure.
That's slightly strange. Because if so, then the tax bill is sent somewhere, so the town has that information.
What's the green?
We can ask them.
We will need to know and check on it.
So I'd be happy to draft a letter to the trustees of the burial,
First settlers?
First Settlers Burial Ground, the trustees of the Evergreen Cemetery, and the one across the bridge, which we had not considered.
I don't know, I think we thought about it.
We
but-
thought about it, and then we said, now,
It's definitely
not contiguous.
it's enough.
Yes, I don't remember what we,
No,
I
I
remember
think
discussing
we
it,
weren't going
other
to.
than
No,
it was there.
okay.
I don't remember either.
These are, so I've spoken to them, so if you draft
Oh,
a
okay.
letter, just I mean, I think it's
Okay.
important, so they've got something in writing that would make
Yes.
contact similar.
Sure, I'd be happy to
And,
do that.
and I spoke to
Mhm.
Bruce,
Okay.
and he's, as I said, on side with the whole project.
So there'll be a contact information for the first settlers on the town website because they're elected officials.
No, so,
That will make sending something easy.
Yeah,
The other two are
right, the other two, we need to do
kind of
some,
floaty.
so we need to do some research. Now, are the other two all the same organisation?
No.
Are they different?
The one across the bridge on
Yes.
Newbury Neck, the assessor's website says that the owner is the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Oh, interesting.
State owned.
Oh,
However,
interesting.
I mean, we should do some more research to find
Yeah.
out
Okay.
Who manages
if it's in
it?
the care of someone or.
Yeah.
So we had, it's my understanding that we had not considered that cemetery across the bridge.
Correct.
So, okay,
We did
Yeah.
discuss it, and I think we,
decided against it.
Decided against it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're,
Yes.
okay, not including that one?
You know,
Sounds like
you
good.
know,
Why did we not
agree?
include that one?
You not agree?
Remind me?
I
Um,
can't remember.
Yeah, I genuinely don't remember just coming to a conclusion on
I
that one.
don't remember coming to a conclusion either.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
we were looking at it,
I think we went
and
up and
we-
then we totally forgot to circle back around.
exactly. There are, you know, ancient graves there. And apparently there's a plumber tomb. It's on private property, but it's down over on that side of the bridge.
not part of the burial
No,
ground.
no,
Well,
it's on private property.
Nothing we
It's
can
on,
do about
yeah,
that, really.
right. Right. I think that we felt that, I'm just remembering, and forgive me if I'm overstepping my bounds, but I thought that we were looking over the bridge, because the bridge we felt wasn't, you know, wasn't of historic value. The crossing itself is of historic value, of course, but, you know, we felt to, if we began at the toll house, is that what you're?
We've called it the Ferry House.
Ferry House.
Right, that one,
Yeah,
yes.
at the ferry
The
house,
orange
and
one.
then go from there to Tory Lane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
For the contiguous portion.
Because
For the
I think it was
contiguous
because
portion.
we're looking at the bridge and the crossing.
Okay.
I
That's
remember
part
such
of
a
it.
section.
And I think because we dismissed the bridge.
right, so then we were saying north of the river.
We were staying north of the river. yeah.
So-
That's what I think.
The history of that burial ground south of the river, was that Newbury, that's historic Newbury, Lower Green Newbury, spread over the river and there were settlements south of the river that
Oh,
constituted
there were,
that?
there absolutely were. Marsh Ave, which goes down to the Old Town Country Club, that actually has a lot of historic buildings down there.
That was before the bridge too, which is probably one of the reasons they're buried over there instead of over on this
Okay.
side.
Okay, but they're not part of the Lower Green
They're
area.
Right.
not, certainly not.
Right.
Already, no.
Are
We are distinguishing
are they
that
part of
difference.
Old Town?
What a stickler.
Are they part
Right,
of Old
but
Town?
we're not, this isn't the
And-
No,
Old
it isn't
Town
the Lower
Historic
Green.
District,
Yes.
it's the Lower Green Historic
Yes.
District, so I agree that cemetery burial ground should not be
Okay,
included.
that's,
all right.
that's,
I mean,
there's a
it's-
reason.
There's a
to-
reason,
to
yeah,
help.
yeah.
I feel better already.
Yeah, as long as it's logical.
Okay,
Otherwise, I'm looking at including these two, but not that one.
Right, and well, my next question then was, well, why did we stop at the river? If
Right.
we were, then why aren't we just keep going
Yeah.
south? But, Lower Green. Right. Okay. So, non-contiguous. I think that was all the update I had on that.
Yes.
I did add another study committee report, preliminary study report into our folder. That is a perfect example of non-contiguous, on how to write that. It's the Olmsted,
Instead, yeah,
Yeah,
I read that,
and
yeah.
that just was passed in Brookline. Historic New England was pretty involved in that as well. So
That is very involved.
for years,
Yeah,
that was, yeah, so, and that's actually a really well-written report. It
It's
goes into
very,
a lot of
yeah,
detail.
it does go into a lot of detail, interior and exterior, but
Mhm.
it's a
Yeah.
Richardsonian, you know,
Yep,
I mean,
I
that's
drive-
important.
I drive by those all the time too, and I'm
Nice.
like, "How pretty, and how I,
Nice.
anyway. So that is a non-contiguous historic district that we can potentially draw on for inspiration.
Are we gonna talk about missing contiguous ones?
What are we
Like
missing?
putting holes in our,
Number 4 on your map is it abuts the lower green and it's not marked. Number 4.
That's the,
I may have, that's the Greenbelt property.
that's the green belt.
I may have pulled an older map from the February,
I was gonna say it should.
either
It
that or
should
my
be
toner's
included.
running out.
It's owned by
It's Greenbelt,
Essex County.
Yes.
Essex County
Greenbelt.
Greenbelt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, and 4 is, cause I don't have one that's numbered, is that the one just to the left of the lower green?
Yes.
It's just left of the
Yeah.
lower green.
Yeah, that one,
Jerry's house, I mean, the 7 Taverns in there, I see that.
correct, it's just
Yeah.
south of
And I
7.
see that
it's
the,
another number.
there's not a number on it,
Yeah,
although the
that's
one
interesting.
below the Greenbelt property, that says R1204.
Put a number in for Jerry's
Just- I
project.
can't remember their, I think they're 83, 283,
If we're referring to.
No.
and 281, I think.
Oh, yes,
No,
Oh, no,
they
they'd
would
be,
be, yeah,
282 probably.
282?
Anyway,
Oh, that's-
R1204.
yeah,
is in-
yeah.
Yeah, and we
right.
had talked about that,
That's
but I
too-
see that
That's
So-
owned by who now?
when we were taking the,
Okay.
when we were taking the
Yeah.
walk, we discussed whether the one below that, which is.
Oh, the Knights.
It's number 1 on this map. We
Yeah.
should get her a map so she's got the numbers.
I have, the problem is I have a lot of versions of that map.
Me too, yeah,
Yeah.
I think I
So it
printed
was-
out, and then my toner's running out, so
Yeah.
the red is bleeding into, you know,
Right.
Yeah,
Purple.
so I Werner her.
So anyway, that's almost non-buildable.
yeah.
But is it important to keep that as part of, it's always, well, it's not always been unbuilt, because there's a burned down house
The
on it.
night, no, Knights.
South
This is
of
the
that.
Kennys.
Yeah, right.
Hold on, what's the night?
So-
Night, yeah, it's a night.
Night.
I have on our property, the spreadsheet, I have whether we voted last time yes or no. Oh, yeah, we voted to include that.
We did,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah.
And same with Essex County, we voted to
Yeah.
include that as well. So I did update that, I do have somewhere, it was on the PowerPoint today, an updated version of the map that I will make sure supersedes these and spread that out.
Oh,
And again, it's a
then I,
proposed
why
one.
don't I, instead of going through your number by number,
Yes,
I'll look
it'll-
at that
it's
and then
just-
see if there's any
Yeah,
other
Yeah,
questions for
I
it.
think
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
printed out the wrong
Yeah.
one.
Okay, yeah, apologies for that, I had
It's got
combined,
Yeah.
buffer and old and,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the map will still be a working document.
Certainly is
Yeah.
just a working document,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Next on our agenda.
I see.
Anything else on that? Reading
So I will
maps.
go ahead and I'll measure the landing place of the first settlers monument on Cottage Road.
Well, I think we might need to hold off on that. It's not imperative at this moment, and the only reason I say that is because we'll need to know how far it is from the boundary between the right-of-way and that private property that abuts it. Because that is a line on the assessor's map that we can then say, it is X, Y feet from that boundary, and I'm not sure if we know where that boundary is in real life.
Well,
So
it's
in
pretty
theory, it
tight.
could be
It's-
totally on private property.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. It's cheek to jowl. That's why I wanted to go and measure it and take another look, because you were absolutely right in saying if the town wanted to go in and you know, pave or whatever,
I
you
don't
know,
think they
that,
would.
well, yeah, well, you never know. I mean, they've done a good job anyway.
Right,
But I just want to go and measure and see, have another look-see, because I haven't been down there in maybe a year or two.
So do you, I mean, we could take some pictures and everything, but
Okay.
do you then know, if you're on the physical, if you're on the street, can you actually identify where the
yes.
boundary is
Oh,
between
no.
town-owned and private?
No,
because that's what we'll need
It's
to
just,
know.
No,
it's just
okay.
the asphalt just kind of disappears and
Yeah.
stone
Yeah,
appears.
and it
I'll
might,
take some
I mean,
pictures.
Take some-
okay,
Yeah, I'll take
'cause,
some pictures.
yeah, if there's like a stone wall or a granite boundary or,
No,
There's
no,
a,
it's
behind
dirt.
it, away from the road, there's a wooden structure that holds the lawn into the house there,
okay,
into their yard.
Yeah.
But on this side of it, it's just,
Yeah, it's just
that could be anywhere.
sand.
right,
Yeah.
and that's, yeah, because otherwise, if we just say that the marker and it's floating in theoretical space, it's really difficult to legally pinpoint it down as being
Right.
protected.
Theoretical
Well,
space.
Yeah, especially if you're, especially if you're talking about
I mean, I think
asphalt
it's
around
good to
it,
include
the
it
roads.
as part of the historic narrative of the
Absolutely.
area. So that's why we should, if it's possible, try and be sure that it's in there, because I mean,
Right.
it is the earliest recorded.
And in the book, the more recent book about Newbury, the sort of paperback, there are several pages of photographs dedicated to the first settlers. I believe it was the 300th. Yeah, 300th anniversary.
Yeah.
And people dressed up
Yeah,
in,
right.
period clothing
Yes.
and
That's all
made
right.
the, yeah. So,
I've got
At-
that picture,
and
it's
that's
this wide, and it's got everybody from the town in it, and the kids are in knickers. and
Yeah.
yeah, it's very sweet.
What-
Everybody's got a hat.
Would have been
Okay.
1935.
35?
Yeah,
1935.
Yeah, 1935, 300th anniversary.
Wow.
Um,
Wow, we're
very
coming
good.
up on 400 years here, guys.
Right.
Even,
Yeah.
even
That's
the
right.
little kids in that are older than me, so.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
So, redo the map.
Yes, we'll
So
clean it
it's
up,
got to be
so
cleaned
it's
up.
at least
Great.
the current version of what we're
Discuss
talking
this
about.
next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bring my
Okay.
comments.
Right.
And you'll delete the old version, is
Yeah.
that
I will
Yeah.
put
correct?
them in a folder.
Or put them in a folder
Yeah, I'll
as,
make sure.
previous.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
yeah, we shouldn't be able to access the old ones. I mean,
I think this one's an older version.
yeah.
Right, next, protocol for refereeing to individual properties known as in meetings and reports, which I think is what you've covered before, is the engagement really. And also, we haven't discussed the questionnaires and things yet.
No, I thought this was something we wanted to also just clarify as to how to refer to individual properties amongst ourselves when we are in this type of forum. That's what I understood as something a bit
Meaning
Whether
using
we,
the address?
address name, I think is a safe way to do it and something that doesn't change,
Right.
hopefully. So,
Yep. Fine.
yeah, because we're also referring to, number 21, number 2, and
Yeah,
those
right.
numbers will go away.
Yes,
Right.
that's right.
So we
Yeah.
will, let's
Well,
not
some
refer them
don't
to
have
by
any
their
numbers.
number.
I see.
Right,
Some don't have
Okay.
any numbers.
right, exactly.
Everyone's got an address.
I thought you meant refereeing.
Yeah, no, sorry,
Yes.
I really
Oh,
misspelled that
okay,
word.
I thought it was, no,
Totally
because I've
misspelled
been
that.
approached by several
Yeah.
property owners, and
You need to be
I
referred.
appreciate the contact, certainly. I appreciate the
Yeah.
contact, but I don't want to misinform
Sure,
anyone, and I want to make sure that, we're well aware, of what people are saying about their properties or any input that they have. I think that it's more appropriate to perhaps ask if they could come to one of the meetings and have, say, like open forum, not so much an open forum, but, time for public comment.
yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think that's
on-
super
Open
important.
mic.
Open
Yeah.
mic, yeah.
On the
Open
subject.
mic, there
But apparently, once you've opened the mic up, you don't necessarily have control over the content. I mean,
I-
even legally, that's what I mean.
I think also, we had talked briefly about having an email
Yes, I
that was
think,
dedicated to this.
What was it, I'm sorry?
Having an email that would be dedicated to this
Yes.
committee instead of to
personal,
personal
Yes.
so
emails.
that we individually are not getting emails, because at the moment on our website, there's no way of contacting the study committee.
Right.
Yes.
And I think to
Right.
be as open to everyone, our neighbors, well, your neighbors and everyone, it's really important to have an open
Yeah.
avenue of communication, official communication.
Yep.
So I'm gonna talk to the
Good
town
point.
about getting
How to
an
do
email address that then
Yeah.
Good idea.
one or two of us that
Yeah.
have access to
Point.
We're all getting
field
emails.
those. Yeah, that
We
way
gotta
it's
bring them to the group.
it's not personal and
No, at the moment,
Yeah.
it's personal.
Right.
We want to get
we
away
want
from
it, right, I mean, at the same, it's a fine line, right, because we're not a municipal bureaucratic body trying to tell people what to or do not to
Exactly.
do.
Yeah.
This is a
Exactly.
communication, we just haven't been so far very good at having that
that.
communication.
Exactly.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So we,
It's-
yeah,
it's-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's part, because
Right.
all these things got to get in order first. but-
Yeah, exactly,
And we now,
we're just trying to get them in
I think
order.
we've reached that stage, so
Yeah.
yes, you can do that.
So
And I think-
opening up as many
Yeah.
avenues
Yeah.
of contact
Yes.
and communication. as we
And,
can.
and receiving input, participation.
Yeah.
Thank
You know,
you,
this
yeah.
is so important to what we're doing.
Right, I think
You know,
that's, yeah.
I absolutely don't want to be viewed as exclusive, because this is an inclusive, positive thing for the town.
Yeah, and it's, we're not,
Correct, yeah.
we are, hopefully, I mean, if we get input from property owners, that's something that we can and should be taking into account in the study
Yes.
committee, right? In terms of,
Yes.
well, what things do you think should be
Yes.
excluded? Because this is for the town,
Yes.
by the town.
So in the letters that I've
Yeah.
written, for example, to Greenbelt or the trustees or the sons and daughters of the first settlers, you know, I've asked for their input, their participation. We welcome, you know, your participation, your input. You know, we value your opinion, you know, anything that you might add to the conversation. I absolutely want as many voices as possible so that we can come to a real consensus and not be viewed as a thou shall not, you know, kind of place.
And the Historic Commission expects this of us anyway, so it's part of it. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you'll
email.
you'll set up email.
Could I will try and do this as soon as possible tomorrow, just contact and see what the process is to set up an email.
Mhm.
But could we, I mean, we're going to hold off on sending those letters anyway, right, until we have them all, but it might be good to include our email address in those letters. So that
Nice.
there's an easy way to get in
Yeah.
contact with us.
Yep, good.
So I'll try to make that as snappy as possible, so that.
And
Yep.
then also, we need an address. So,
Oh,
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
which I think,
There's boxes, aren't there? There's boxes in town, yeah.
Yeah, this
We'll just-
down,
we need a
down on the
box.
first floor by
So the stuff
the
gets
town
delivered
clerk's
there.
office and Martha's
we'll,
office,
we'll
this
just have,
slotted
so the
boxes.
address would then be here, 12 Kent
Oh, that's right,
Way,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
The
would
name
it
of
just
the-
say attention of study committee?
Yeah.
And we'll
Yeah.
make sure they have boxes.
Lower green.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
our full
folder, yeah.
name,
and then
encyclopedic name, and then, but it would just be sent there. I always stumble over it.
And then you call it maybe the LHD, because if they see the word historic, we're gonna end up in
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
in
that's
the Historic
good, yeah.
Commission box.
Oh, is that what you mean?
Okay, so who do we need to
Lower
contact
green
to?
LHD.
Do we have to set that up with Julia?
That's what my question was, is who do we need to set that up with?
Well, the email, I would think you would need to talk to Matt about.
I have his email, I'll email him about that.
So.
But the physical
The
box,
physical
Well, it's just gonna go, talk to the town clerk,
town clerk, yeah.
alright,
because she gets the mail.
okay, thank you.
And it'll
Okay.
just be, you know, the regular town address, the 12 Kent Way, but
Right.
in care of,
Yep,
Yeah.
and then she will
Our
just see the
title I
box.
would make.
And, you know, there's no room, you
LH.
can certainly
Yeah.
share our box, I don't know how many
Store.
boxes are left down there, but
Thank you.
Well, Jan will get
we
the
can tell who's the sweeps.
yeah, okay, and then we need to
Okay.
make sure that we have just remember to actually pick up that mail. Maybe once more than every 4 weeks.
I mean, at least Tuesday nights downstairs is open until 7 o'clock, so it does make it a
Okay.
little easier if you're working
You're
past 5 or whatever, so.
Okay.
Or someone local who's not working can get it.
Good.
Okay,
Okay, right. Historical resources. How are we doing on that?
Lon, I think, was trying to just
This
Well,
is
let's
to
see
gather
this is to
more.
get the, this is to put
Oh, I
the,
see.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at some of the
What-
examples,
I'm not
Yes.
sure, I don't know if we
Some of
put
the
anything
examples,
underneath
they
it
keep-
to discuss yet. have we?
they keep the, in
Macris is the main thing.
in the report that goes to Massachusetts Historic Commission, the history part of it is quite important, but not too long. It's
Right,
actually
snap.
quite concise,
Yeah.
fairly.
Oh, yeah.
But we need,
snap.
our our
So-
bibliography, our list of resources should be
Yeah,
pretty extensive.
The
Right.
plan, the, what's it called, town plan? I think it's got a decent discussion on historical
Yeah.
resources too. you know.
Okay, so it would be, we just
On the
want
master plan.
Master
to
plan, thank you.
accumulate all of those into our Dropbox, or if they're
Yeah.
just lists of books or something, into a Word document into our Dropbox. I need to organize our Dropbox,
Right.
and I will organize our Dropbox. But just that we have a folder that then when we go to write that, or for my
Yeah,
benefit.
it's disorganized right
Yeah,
now,
it's
so,
really
you know, I don't know exactly
What
where to go when
anything
I'm
is.
looking for
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
So like
Fix
the Dropbox will have been updated, and then I don't know exactly where, I mean, I can see by the date, but
Right.
it's,
Yeah, I
A
I
bit
will address that
disorganized.
instead on my.
no offense to anyone.
No,
I
it's.
I didn't find your letters in there either.
You didn't look.
No, I also did not know, I didn't, so, did you,
What?
do we, like, did I miss an email or something about them being in there, or was it just?
So does it
was
not,
for it?
does Dropbox, because when people put things in the Dropbox, I get a notification.
No.
Yes,
No.
You don't get one?
No, but
but you're
because I
the,
use Dropbox so often in work, I've turned off all the notifications,
Oh,
or beacons.
okay, all right, well, then it's
That's
your fault.
probably it.
then
Okay,
your fault.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
I remember getting the notice.
Just have to run myself. Or we can send out an email to the group saying I've uploaded. Okay.
Okay, so, and then I think someone has to, we have to distill together all that information and do a sort of snappy one-page or two-page thing. So I
What,
think it's
an
going to-
executive
Yes.
summary or?
For the, you mean for the
Which will
history?
eventually go into the report, but,
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
that's down the line, but
I
it's
was-
getting
yeah.
all the facts
yeah,
in first from all the different source
right, so
material.
we're accumulating our sources
Yeah,
first.
No.
right,
That's
which,
step one.
and then have the full,
You know, what would be handy on that would be an annotated outline of what we think that's gonna look like, because then we can see, that we need this from that document, or this
Right.
from that.
Yeah,
document.
that's in the guidelines.
yes.
You know,
it's-
yeah, that's in
And
the
also,
I was thinking
just
for
to
ours.
refresh, is to have a
Oh,
look
for
at,
us, that's-
have a look at the, some of the others as well, gives you some idea, it's in the guidelines.
Yeah, they vary though,
Stuff.
I will say.
They do,
Yeah,
yeah. And I think there's a chance of putting in, especially getting information from the trustees. If you look at their website, there's quite a lot of
It's nice,
history.
yeah,
and
it's
done
very
a pretty
nice
good
who
job.
we are.
Particularly, as you know, one of the sort of things is we can bring in this is a heavily settled Native American area as well, things like that.
oh,
That,
absolutely.
that's
They should
something,
be a
I
big
was
part
just
of that.
going to
Yeah.
ask,
Is-
you know, if you
I
could
have
put
a
in.
You-
pretty
you
good
could,
write-up of it.
Yeah,
for-
yeah, if you could
so-
put that
But
in,
you-
because I'm very interested personally
Yeah,
in, you know, the pre-colonial
yeah. So
era.
if you want to be the,
So I've just
Point
written
person on
some
that.
new information for
Yeah.
the Dole Little Houses website, so I'll
Right.
include that.
okay,
Nice.
that sort of thing is,
Yeah.
it sets us off with a base template.
I mean, I think that's an important part of why we're presenting.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it
Um,
absolutely is,
Actually,
because we're talking about historic and cultural, you know,
Right,
Yeah.
not just the built
value,
environment.
you know, right.
Absolutely. I did, a couple weeks ago, I met with a couple of trustee people. I can't remember their titles, but, who work in the property care on North Shore and particularly in Newbury. And had a good discussion. I did bring up this fact that we were, starting the study committee, so they are aware and fully supportive of it, which is wonderful. I told them to expect a letter. So,
Right. Good.
So I'm actually, that was one thing that I did want to ask. I'm addressing it to the board of trustees of each organization. Do we feel that that's a good thing, or should it be to a specific, you know, like you know, executive director or something like that?
I think that, thinking about board of trustees, for instance, they all might be different. I think addressing it to the top,
Yeah.
the Board of Trustees would be a good idea.
Okay,
I also
good, that's
think
what I
maybe
did.
CCing it
That's
though,
what I did.
Yeah, I think
or
so.
including if we can find the property manager, because specifically each
Ah,
area, it would be good just to bring it to their attention too, just that they, because they're the ones boots on the ground
Right.
on those
Yes.
properties,
Yeah.
they know
Right.
them, it would be good to,
And the same
to
with
include them.
Essex.
And with the
Greenbelt,
Greenbelt,
which
right.
have just got
Yeah.
a new,
a new
CEO as
so,
well, so.
executive director,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
right,
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree,
Okay.
because it may get lost if it goes to the board.
That's the
Sort of-
thing, and boards don't meet very often,
No.
you know, I mean, no offense to
Quarterly.
us, but, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
So follow up, yeah, good point.
practical purposes. Hey,
Okay.
you're around.
Yeah.
Okay, I did bring up, okay, that kind of segues slightly, if we're done with that specific topic, into the idea of maybe collaborating a bit with some of these other
Yes.
nonprofit organizations, or having them maybe be a host something, or,
Nice.
Good, great.
right, we talked a while ago about information sessions, or, I think Joey brought up a while ago
Yeah.
about the Newberry,
Newbury Days.
thank you,
Yeah.
but
I
maybe
think that's
where?
Yeah, I think
So,
I think
I'm
we can
not,
cover that.
I'm not going to say who this is for, but this gives you an idea. The Select Board of Newbury, Massachusetts has recently established a study committee to create a local historic district around Newbury's Lower Green. As this nonprofit is a major landowner in this immediate area, we wish to inform you of our emerging efforts and encourage your input and/or participation in the work ahead. The iconic Lower Green has undergone significant impacts over the past decade, including demolition of historic homes, development, and loss of traditional agricultural acreage. Our newly formed group, the Lower Green Local Historic District Study Committee, aims to at least decelerate further incongruous expansion that would negatively affect the beauty and value of this important cultural landscape. We acknowledge with gratitude the important role that this nonprofit has played in preserving and maintaining much of Newbury's open space and many other natural resources and wildlife habitats, and our committee welcomes your involvement as we strive toward the mutual goal of preserving an important part of our shared American history. I want to say cultural.
Yes.
I think in the beginning when you say
I
decelerate,
do.
Decelerate,
and you
that's
say the
it.
word negative,
Yeah,
we
that's-
flip
Right.
that as the positive and preserve.
I think,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree,
Yeah.
with that.
Well, I mean, that's why I wrote it, so that we could discuss it here, but,
It's sort of
Um,
like with our mission statement,
Right.
is sort of flips it around.
right.
You know, but the thing, yeah, as you said, it's, we're welcoming input and participation, so all those things. I think we get it out and then follow up
Right.
with the,
Yeah.
you've got this now, guys, now
Right,
what
right.
about?
You've got the, sons and daughters have the location for us to
Yeah,
have a table when
Yeah.
people are out and about to
Right.
answer questions or surveys or something. So, yeah, just something to think about.
Which I think is something that we should start looking at, is doing a survey of, neighbors. And, yeah,
that does come in some of the questionnaire bit, which we're sort of getting towards getting that out.
I think we should help jump on that, because that's kind of the first way that NHC
Right.
indicates we should engage community.
Yep.
There is a possibility of doing, because I read the survey, and to be totally frank, I didn't really like it.
it's,
It's very pointed,
yeah,
and surveys, statistics can be bent in every way that you want them to be bent, so trying to make it as unbiased as possible, not trying to get a specific answer, I think is really important, and we're trying to invite the community in, not tell them, we tricked you, you really do want a study committee.
right, that's not
That's
what
not
we
the
want.
intent of this.
No, it's
We want
not.
honest answers. But there's a few questions, other questions about asking our neighbors or asking people, what do you love about this area? Why do you live here? just to get answers to
Nice.
that.
Qualitative
Yeah.
questions, not just
I mean, can you,
quantitative.
for the next meeting, can you draft one up?
I think, yeah,
put it-
and
and we'll send it around before
Yes.
for the thing.
Yeah, well
And then we
before.
can,
and if there's any
we can
questions
critique it,
that
yeah,
you guys
in the
come up
meantime.
with, email them
But
to
that's
me. I'd be more than-
exactly right.
Yeah.
And I did read it before it comes up. And you're right, it was a bit, I can't remember where it is, but it's,
narrow focus,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But like what is important to you about this community?
Why do you live here?
Why do you live
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
What,
Yeah.
you know, what do you love about it? What do you not like about it? Yeah. And those kind of things, because it'll help us to create some things like
Right.
what we should protect.
Mhm.
And then, I think that's separate though, my point with that was I think that's separate from the survey that asks specifically how owners would feel about a local historic district. Because if you ask them in the same survey, I think, it again has that kind of almost leading quality of then if, you answer these questions, oh, I see where we're going with this, it's all to do with how they can restrict my property, or these kind of questions. But if we just kind of gather information about what this area and what people would be open to, and then digest that in terms of our boundaries and what we're considering, and then go back to the owners and say, all right, based on your feedback, here's what we propose.
Nice.
What do you think about this? How would
Nice.
you feel about a local historic district?
Nice.
yeah,
Then after that, because after that, I think according to MHC, we have to reevaluate whether we even want to go ahead.
right.
Because we could just say, this is not the right time to try and create a local historic district, if by and large the community is against
It's
it.
not, yeah.
So,
I agree, and actually, I just looked at it, I think you're right, it's not, but this one's not relevant. for
Yeah.
us, So it needs to be completely
Yeah.
redone. But yeah, if we could do that, that'd be good.
how do we want to, never mind, we can figure that out later. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, how do we disseminate that, but let's get it first.
There we go.
We can figure out.
Okay. Right. So, any other business? I've got some. Which is on here, is, I think, taking in account what you've all said, is we actually have our first sort of gathering with the public for our next meeting. May not be necessarily such a committee meeting, but I actually thought, and this is subject to approval of those interested, it's actually held in the schoolhouse on the Lower Green.
Perhaps we could put it in the paper, or would
as
that,
an idea for our next meeting, and then which gets you on site, and it also will be a bigger draw to those affected in the area.
So
Here's
it's local,
here's a
right?
comment on that.
Yeah.
If
As
we
a
want to
rep-
hold it within a month, we should get a letter off to the Secretary of the Historic Commission, because we meet tomorrow night.
Right.
And otherwise, we don't vote on it until the next meeting, and we've got to wait another month.
I am not
So there's a
opposed,
comment.
I'm not opposed to drawing it out and
Yeah.
holding it a little bit further than a month. I will say
Okay,
that
then we're okay.
this seems,
Yeah.
I think
But
the
I mean,
amount of work that
as
we're doing,
as the
it's
idea,
okay
as
if we
we
slow
have
down.
representatives from the Historic Commission, yeah,
There.
30 or 40 people pitching up for a general discussion.
There's not much room in there to
No,
hold
but I
a
mean,
very
it's,
large meeting.
What
It's
is
just
that?
desks.
But we don't
Yeah,
know, we don't know who's going, but it starts the debate of, I mean, I wanted to get away from calling it a full public hearing, because it's not a hearing, it's
Have
merely
have a question and answer
Q&A,
session
yeah.
Informational
And
session.
from
indeed-
7 till 9.
Right,
And we sit in there and people come in,
Yeah.
so that it's not
right,
50
it's,
people descend on the building.
so
we-
before it gets too hot and before mosquitoes and greenheads?
right.
So maybe we
I
could
don't know if
consider,
beat the
But,
mosquitoes.
maybe we could consider tomorrow night, the Historic Commission could consider tomorrow night, letting the committee use that for some sort of a Q&A or public thing, because we could,
I think that's a good idea.
we could at least discuss that and vote on it. What do you think? Okay.
Okay.
She's
Sorry,
the
what was
boss,
that?
she
She's the
makes the
boss,
agenda, we
she's
don't
the-
get.
Right.
Well, isn't there always, my agendas always have a little line at the bottom that says, any anything else that wasn't included, that didn't come up before I filed this, is up for debate at the end.
And any other information that, yes, comes before the board.
'Cause so you don't always know what is gonna be brought up, so.
So, what for the sort of a month from now would be
What does that put us at?
satisfactory? Is that,
I think we should do it
so that would be,
after just after Memorial Day if
oh, yeah,
possible.
yeah, definitely.
Because we come into a bunch of holiday things there.
Porta potty, yeah,
And,
important stuff.
and by then, the Q&As will be tidied up and.
Yes,
you know,
and
quite
on
a
our
lot-
website.
It's on our
if
website,
possible.
so, and, you know, we can get out to them, you know, the contact points, email addresses and all the, everything.
Yeah.
And just do the whole lot then, and get the initial feedback, as though we're doing a survey. Although, I mean, we still do the survey,
Right,
but it
Absolutely.
starts the discussion off.
yeah,
Well, it also creates goodwill and openness,
right,
you know,
That's
so
important.
I think that's
Yes.
very important.
okay.
Okay,
Um,
so I think who to get off an email to you so you can present that for tomorrow, if it is
Oh.
tomorrow, I didn't,
Do we,
to you, right, to you, yeah.
So as the chair of the committee, I think you should be
Okay.
tasked with that.
I'll do
doing
that.
Just send an email to the historical commission, it's right on the town website,
Yeah, yeah,
and I will
You'll-
print it out to
you'll
bring
print
it
it out?
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
Talk about it.
will
Okay,
do.
So,
Good.
because we open the schoolhouse Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
And
which
prior to that,
means-
right now, the mannequins have
Yeah,
clear plastic cloths
Pictures are
over
laying
them,
down
and, you
everything.
know.
right, oh, yeah.
so
Well, you gotta
after
get
Memorial Day
it,
weekend would be better, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Which is
Good.
Either
20
way,
so
we
you're
we go into
27.
clean before we open,
So
so.
it's the, so
Right.
yeah, which is the, so
It's a
the,
written box.
That's
and
it.
allow a
Yeah,
bit, so maybe you're like first week in June,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay.
Okay.
A few things to note that I took some notes earlier, thinking about how to better engage the community. I think newspapers are a really good idea if we can get the word out, one, about this meeting if possible, but other, wise, if we have the survey and say, we have a survey, go to our website, or if we're really thinking about it, here's a QR code. And-
Oh,
We can
To
get
our-
anything into the newspaper, that's easy.
Yeah, and just to
Right.
say, once we have something to disseminate, learn more about the Historic District Cut Study Committee, learn what we're doing, if you have questions, or
I like the
just
QR code, because if we get a little, even if it's just a little box, it's got
exactly,
a
it has
QR
all in a
code.
big
They
headline.
can go right into the, yeah.
Exactly.
website.
So I think that's a really good idea, and that's something MHC recommends. Yeah. Oh, I just had a question for my own edification. Can we review one more time specifically why this study committee was created? What precipitated this?
well, several,
Right.
it started quite a while ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago. The Bushy property was bulldozed. And Mrs. Bushy donated Old Town Hill, you know, so much property and so much land, and also she bequeathed a scholarship that my children have been beneficiaries of for the children of Newbury, Rowley, and I believe Salisbury, I'm not sure, but you know, the surrounding areas.
And
That-
our three houses.
And our-
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
She saved all her property in the house, she only saved for 30 years.
Yes, she didn't put a very
Her
long
personal
term.
house.
And
So-
then, not only that, but also then another huge iconic piece of property was sold and subdivided and subsequently developed into a new neighborhood. And, you know, not, we just see more and more kind of a loss of historic, you know, traditional farmland, beautiful antique homes and landscapes that are being developed. And we just, we want to preserve what's beautiful about the Lower Green. What's beautiful, cultural, you know, historic, we want to preserve that area, you know.
And there is no such preservation. There's not even on any register or anything. I mean, other than the schoolhouse. But it's not on a register, it just sits there as a symbol of a bit of history, but that's it.
All of the historic, or most of the historic homesteads that are, if you read on that, have land, which means if somebody gets a hold of that, they're ripe for being broken up. And in the lower green area here, we've had that happen twice, within where I could hit a golf ball from the green.
So was there
One of them we saved with the
Essex County?
Greenbelt property, that 4.5 acres, that was supposed to be 12 houses. So that was, I started this, when did I start this? In like 2013, I think I started working on it. And then I realized, as we're realizing now, oh my God, this is not something for one person to take on. It was just.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just wondering, what, because I'm,
The
mostly
history
aware
is watching things
development
disappearing.
pressure, but
That's it.
I was wondering if there
Yes,
was one
pressure.
precipitated
Yeah.
moment that
You-
caused the select board to then vote
And
this
the
year.
stopgap
Yes.
was the demolition delay bylaw.
Right.
Because it gave us a little bit of, at least we could put
Right,
on the
bit of
brakes.
time.
Breathing room a little bit.
Yeah.
Breathing room.
Yeah.
And then we did do about a year ago, we did a petition to propose to the select board. to
And I went,
consider
yeah,
which,
yeah, I went to the dump and got 16 pages worth of signatures from people. Most people said, I said, may I ask you to sign a petition to designate the Lower Green as a historic district? Most people said, you mean it isn't already?
That's right.
That most people, 90, 95%,
That's what it was.
most people said, you mean it isn't already? And readily signed it.
And
So-
when was this, you did this?
That
Yeah,
was
that's done.
pre-COVID, right?
Pre-COVID,
Was it
yeah.
pre-COVID?
Wow, okay,
Yeah.
so it
And
really.
so-
I
No,
think-
no,
So-
it wasn't, because people were wearing masks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think it was
a couple of years
21,
ago.
2021.
Okay.
And so there was general enthusiastic support
Yes.
from all round, and obviously all the lower green abutters, and so this was the will of the people that set the thing going.
All right, thank you, I was
Yeah.
had
You
some
can have
questions about
that
things.
just to show you how it got started. But
Development, so just the development is the
Yeah.
reason.
because
Right,
I mean, that came as Lauren and John said, it's been a number of years in the making. I think that sort of crystallised it into an action
Yes.
group, and then committee was formed.
okay, thank you.
It was funny because, the person that brought me the petition asked if I could, go around the neighborhood, and I said, forget that, I'm going to the dump. On a Saturday. Saturday, I was there all
We did
day.
the same, we did the same. I realized that we forgot briefly to go over the study committee action steps that will be posted along with the FAQ sheet. It's just a very simplified version of the long document that MHC,
yes.
Massachusetts Historical Commission, has of kind of what these steps are and where we are in the process.
Yeah, well-
I posted it on our Dropbox very, very late, but I could just read through the 9 bullet points very
Yes.
quickly, if that sounds okay. So it's very bare bones, and I will flesh them out a little bit, but I want them to be as concise as possible. So step 1 is, once the study committee has been formed, preliminary research into the local historic district boundaries. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Then we survey, and there's a survey and discussion with owners on the in the proposed local historic district, including what types of things would be protected, what we are attempting to protect, and what would be excluded. We then evaluate the survey report results and see whether a local historic district is the best option. If not, we would either continue to build community support through information sessions and other community outreach, or we would decide to halt the proceedings at that time. If we do decide that a local historic district is the best option, or if the community decides that by the survey results, we would continue to build community support anyway. And we would have open discussions as we continue with more historical research and the writing of the report. We would complete the study committee report, taking into consideration the comments and concerns from owners regarding exclusions, inclusions, and goals. That this would then be reviewed by Massachusetts Historical Commission. We would have a final public meeting to discuss, and it would be put to a vote at a town meeting. Those are the bare bones of the process and where we are. We are at step 1.
Yeah.
Not to discourage.
Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely.
No, I know.
I have a question, and I don't know if you
Yeah.
can answer this or not. Most properties are surveyed, but a lot of them in this area I find weren't, like when we tried to save across the street, we tried to put the conservation agreement, or conservation easement on the 5 acres, yeah, next to the Greenbelt property, and we found it wasn't surveyed. And so I'm wondering, on some of these, what might that be an issue, or?
Like a boundary survey?
Well, so, yeah, that's-
Yeah, boundary survey. In other words, the deed has got a description. You walk so many feet that way, and so many, then you turn left, and that kind of thing, but there's no lines. You know, there's no survey, it's not surveyed.
It's similar
And
to
we had to actually have it surveyed before we could get a conservation easement on it. So I don't know if that would be the case for,
But you've got all the boundaries, so where did you get them from?
the assessor's website, tax assessors. The tax assessor has the, however, that doesn't necessarily mean
Just
those
to mean they're
properties have been
surveyed.
surveyed. We found that
Oh, I
with
see.
the Dole Little
Oh.
House recently, that we had to do a
Yeah.
survey and realized it was much larger than we thought. However,
Oh,
well, yeah, and how do we, what? So I don't know if that is reflected now on the town assessor's website or not. That would be worth looking into, just to see what those,
we just found out
It's been
last year
Yeah.
that the Greenbelt property that we saved,
yeah,
15 feet of it belongs to the neighbor, and it hadn't been surveyed.
Interesting.
The rock wall and tree line
Yeah.
is not the thing, because he had his property surveyed, and when he had it surveyed, it turns out it's in the Greenbelt property.
so,
So,
that would be, it would be.
just something to think about.
It's something that because it's not legal gray area, but it is admitting that we don't necessarily have all the facts, and we're not going to go and survey every property, right? That's
No.
not
Well, that's what I'm
what
saying.
us.
Nor
But
can we
how do
ask
you
the
include it in
homeowner.
Nor,
Nor-
yeah,
where
nor,
it
nor are we
is.
gonna ask the homeowners to do that, but what we can do is,
Oh, good point, because it's on their deed.
it's not only on their deed, but if our map and our justification of boundary refers to the property boundaries, it doesn't matter necessarily what those look like on the map.
Yeah,
It goes by the legal registered deed.
whatever that may be.
Which, yeah, so if, 10 years down the line it's surveyed and they realize it's 10 feet bigger than they thought it was, well, that 10 feet is already included in the historic district if there is
By
one.
definition.
By definition.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
good. That's- yeah.
But no,
I'm
it's a
just
good
thinking,
point.
we picked 10 properties, and 8 of them aren't surveyed.
Technically, it's
Yeah.
really good practice to have a property surveyed before you ever buy it, but no one ever does that.
Just, I think
With your
Greenbelt
inspection.
just found that out.
Yeah. Know what you're buying before you buy it. Okay, so those are the action steps. I'll clean them up a little bit
Okay.
and send them around for final review, but they will be posted along with the FAQs, and I'll make them bubbly and visually appealing.
and,
So that-
and make it so that there's like a little check mark so that we can feel empowered.
Okay. And
That
also
we're
let them know where we
moving
are.
forward, I'm a big
Yeah.
check mark person.
To-do list person, okay, all right, yeah, I can do that. And then the other thing is just, once we make contact with owners, I feel it is gonna be really important that we maintain contact with owners.
Oh, yeah.
So regular updates,
Yeah.
whether that be by email or however we decide
So,
best to approach them, is saying, we just wanna keep you in the know that there is another meeting, or we have moved to the next step of the process, or whatever it is, that we have as much lucidity as possible.
So something that I'm concerned about, by alerting the newspaper or whatever, is that that's going to like jump the gun before we have, approval or, action steps, that kind of thing. Because you never know how things are going to be published through someone else's eyes, I mean, I think certainly we can look at, publishing in the paper about the,
Proposal, we
The-
can just
you
say
know,
it's a
the-
it's an idea that, it probably needs speaking to someone who's Because we're not making an announcement.
No.
No, I'm
We're
picturing
just
something.
asking for a comment. aren't
Right, I'm picturing something more like, find out what the local, Lower Green Local Historic District Study Committee is, or,
we? Yeah.
and then
And a
a link, or
contact.
again, the QR code, something
Yeah.
like that, that sends us directly to the town website, our page on the town website, that then has how we want it presented, the information that we are creating currently. So to limit the amount of, not bias, but media bias.
I don't see QR codes in the paper. I mean, I'm probably.
Might be a bit
no.
mid.
Yeah,
We use it in ACES.
I don't see them in the paper usually. You know, I'll see them on like coupons or
ask,
something like
yeah.
that.
We did it because that's the way they took their survey.
Yeah, I know.
It was in the
yeah.
article, you just
Yeah, I
like
saw
this and you
that.
went off to the
Yeah.
survey.
And it's even something, you know, if we, for instance, at this meeting, if we have it at the schoolhouse, could just print a QR code and people can take a picture of their phone and do it there. Like, it's something we can even just have for them.
Ah,
Like, it's just an
Yes.
easy way of saying, you don't need
Yeah.
to remember digits or anything like that, just,
right.
here you go. Here's the information, here's where the information is, or eventually, here's where we have a survey. Because to be honest, mailing things, I won't respond to a survey back.
Yeah, I know, no,
I'm not
no,
gonna mail
no,
something, take
no.
the time to mail something back to someone.
Exactly. I'm showing my ignorance here, but how does one create a QR code?
There's
Wait.
websites
There-
that'll
Websites,
generate it.
Well,
okay.
actually, if you go to save a file out of Word, it says, would you like to create a
There's,
Yeah.
QR code?
Okay, yeah, no, I
Quick,
still,
easy, and free.
I
They've
still
got, they've got a
send,
little man or something in it that are kind of screwy, but.
I still send smoke signals to my roof, you
Go
know,
there.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so something very simple.
Okay,
Okay,
right.
alright,
So
Yeah.
we will
back up.
try and establish a date for the public discussion, I think we call it, not a hearing.
Yeah.
Public
Q-
information
Q&A,
session?
information.
Yeah.
Q&A.
Information
Yes.
session?
Yeah,
What's the right terminology? Because I hear
right.
discussion,
Which would be
information session,
first
Q and A.
Suggest.
I don't know,
Meet and greet.
discussions or Q&A.
Meet and greet?
Yes,
How do you want to?
discussion, Q&A.
Yeah,
Discussions is
discussion, what did you say, Rob?
Discussion about what the local historic districts.
Informational meeting?
Just do it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
I like
information.
informational.
Yeah.
Informational meeting. Okay.
We're happy to have discussions, but
Yep.
we're, not everybody's gonna be in the same place at the same time necessarily,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
And
we'll be there to answer questions.
do we want to have our next meeting before that?
Yes,
I think so.
I think so.
Because there's
Okay.
quite a lot of things to,
Approve and review.
yes.
Discussions is better. Q&A assumes that when they ask a question, we're gonna have an answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is
Discussions,
an
yeah.
informational meeting, is
Discussion.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For discussion.
We don't have a lot of answers yet.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's an opportunity
speak.
for, you know, public input.
Yeah, I mean, it's an inclusive thing, so we want
Yeah.
a discussion,
And
Q&A.
for us to say, here's what we're about.
Yeah. Q&A can be sort of more antagonistic.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I was saying.
Yeah. Which is
How
not
many
what we're
answers do
about.
we have?
So,
Okay.
so when
Could we push it out a little bit further than 4 weeks, which is what we've been doing?
Wow.
well, just,
It's just a lot of information to kind of
okay,
accumulate in that time.
And,
And I'm gonna be out of town.
I figured that.
and I'm going to
We-
my busy season.
we-
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
All
yeah.
my
right,
trainings.
open,
and
yeah.
Open houses.
It seems to
Right.
just have gotten a lot busier all of a sudden. So, how about the week of the 22nd?
Of May?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is the week before we are proposed. It's the week before Memorial Day,
right,
which is good if we want to meet in a public forum, but not at the schoolhouse.
right,
In preparation for a meeting at the schoolhouse the following week,
The
Or, yeah.
following week of Memorial Day?
that's,
or the first week of June
there's,
is.
okay,
Yeah.
I see, yeah.
so sort of 23rd, Tuesday, I mean,
Tuesdays don't work for me, but I could do Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I have to ask my wife. It's
I
my
can't
birthday.
do Wednesday.
It's gonna take me
Oh,
a while.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No,
We
Ron
don't
can't
need
do
to.
it.
Wednesday then.
We don't need to
Oh,
have
is it-
it,
is it
have
at
it in
night?
the evening.
I can't do that night. I'm giving a lecture.
Oh, good.
We don't have to have it in the
Somebody's gonna
evening.
take me out to dinner, I don't know.
I think we should have it at night.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think we should make it as possible for
For
people
people
to
to come.
attend as
Yep.
possible.
Which,
So what about
I was
Thursday?
on, so
Thursday works.
I will check the town
Thursday.
website. I know that Tuesdays and Thursdays typically are when select board and
yes, they,
HDC, Historic District Commission, meet, but I don't know if it's those Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I will check the town website when I have Wi-Fi.
right,
And potentially the 25th.
At what time? I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a minute, I can't do that. My daughter is graduating from college that weekend.
Well,
I'll be gone 24, 25, 26, 27.
Congratulations to
23rd.
her. Alright, so not that week. is
Not
what
that
I'm hearing.
week.
Are you gonna take me out the day?
No, I'm not taking you anywhere.
Week after, that's after Memorial Day, which is.
When is the next Historic District Commission meeting?
Second Tuesday,
Okay.
second Thursday of every month.
Second Thursday.
Historical Commission.
So it could be before.
Yeah, sorry,
So we-
Historical Commission, not HDC.
We have to just.
So that would be,
No,
we're in April, so
I-
May,
if I'm wrong, don't let me.
The Historical Commission meets the second Thursday of every month.
so that'll be May 11th
Thank
is the next one, and then after that, I just wanna make sure, well, let me connect the account. The June 8th, so. Okay. Okay,
So is it too soon to have an informational meeting then?
nope.
No?
No,
Okay.
we need to have it
All
as soon
right,
as possible.
okay,
I'd
all right.
like to get it done for, because
Okay.
in case any more,
Yeah, we need to
I
open
think
ones.
most
Alright.
of the discussion is gonna be coming our way.
Okay.
That's
so I
going
think
All
it's sooner than, but you're
Okay.
right, after Memorial, do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, so what about the
Memorial weekend.
31st? That is a Wednesday.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Subject to getting a
Should we
room.
be-
You can email when, if you've got one.
Yes, I will, yeah. And then that could put us provisionally at an informational session the following week
Well, that'd be quite good, yeah.
of June 5th, one of those days.
Oh,
You can, I mean, if that's, because I know that the Historic Commission has a meeting on Thursday, the 8th. So, in terms of your meeting tomorrow, if you want to provisionally say we're looking at the week of the 5th for a meeting at the schoolhouse,
Wouldn't be the 8th for us.
that is the second Thursday of that month.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Weird.
June starts on a
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't, I'm just writing on my calendar, wouldn't like to look.
Okay,
So May 31st. That's the weekend our museum's open. Mhm.
And did we pick a time?
5:30?
5:30,
5:30?
is that fine? Same place, here.
So we'll bring that up tomorrow at
Yeah,
well, I'll,
the, or you'll bring it up, or it'll be in the
I'll
agenda.
send it, yeah.
It'll be on the agenda.
schoolhouse meeting, week of the 5th. And when stuff's nailed down, I'll send out a.
Okay.
I don't know what to call it, but I'll call it something on the website. It's not a public hearing, so I can't put that, but.
Informational session?
Information.
That's not one of the options on the click down menu for what type of meeting that I'm scheduling. It's a site visit, a public meeting, or a meeting, so it'll be a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Public meeting.
Or a public hearing,
If it's a
sorry.
meeting, it's
There's
a
no
public
one.
hearing.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
okay.
it-
No, we don't
Yes,
wanna
because
hear.
we're not hearing.
It's not-
They're
it's not
hearing.
formal. It's not that formal.
Any
List
meeting
that.
that you guys have that have a majority is a public meeting.
Noticing.
Yes, but a public hearing, it's not a public hearing.
No.
Right.
With the town.
On the website?
Yeah.
Public, that's what she's looking at.
Yeah, no, I'm just meant, we have to list it as a meeting for the,
Yeah,
Yes.
for the purpose.
Meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
because we'll all be
It
there.
has,
for
yeah,
some
it's,
reason.
it gives you just two choices.
Oh, I see.
for the-
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
that's
not much.
what she does on
I see.
the website. Okay,
So
any other business?
Just to review, so that we all know, because that was a lot that we went over. For the next meeting, we are finalizing the FAQ sheet.
Yep,
The letters to institutions, are we sending them out before next meeting?
we're sending it out before, I
Yeah, because they have been reviewed.
think. They have been reviewed.
Um,
Yeah.
Oh, Apparently.
Yeah.
I will email the comments that we have.
Yeah.
Okay, and I will set up an email so that that can be included.
Address.
And an address, that's
Yeah.
right, so we can receive things physically, as well as, yeah. We are continuing to accumulate resources and putting them in a heretofore organized Dropbox. And I will also publish, should we wait to then publish the FAQ sheet and the action steps on our website until after next meeting, or should we do that beforehand?
I think the action items
Okay,
are,
Can be-
those
can be
are
done.
pretty straightforward.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. You're going to do the landing stone.
Mhm.
Yes, take pictures of and try to
shows,
figure out where it is
Mhm.
relative to something else. Okay. Anything else that we discussed that we needed to do, actual actionable items for next time?
We talked about it, maybe getting an annotated outline for what that introductory thing for the cultural resources, or
Okay.
whatever the section's called.
Yeah,
Because it just lets us know what else we need besides pictures and things.
absolutely,
But,
right, kind of what resources and what we have, what we need.
Formal letter to the trustees of the First Settlers Burying Ground and the Evergreen Cemetery, I'll do those.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of, they'll be with that template
Yeah,
letter.
same format.
Okay.
Yep.
And we had talked about drafting a survey.
Ah, thank you, that is
Yes.
important,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, thank you.
And you're taking comments for suggestions for questions or something.
Yeah,
That-
anything, if you have them, send them to me. Okay.
Yeah, I saw all the pictures I sent you and everything, all that stuff.
Yes, that's it.
It was up on the top.
Those photographs that you took from the site walk,
Oh,
are
yeah.
those on the Dropbox?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I
Can you
will,
those be
put that-
I will
uploaded, that'd be
those.
wonderful.
Sure.
Put that on the list of.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I didn't even look at it, but I saw them on the top.
Yeah, because if nothing else,
Did you
it's
find
just lovely that
the
they'll be documented.
other monument, the one that was opposite where they've sent me in as?
Yes.
You did, okay. Oh, you got it.
Oh, the Francis Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's good, because normally it's completely covered.
Yeah, it was a good time of year to do it.
So before I send out those letters, I will need an email and a box, a box here.
And also, the names of the people, the property managers for
Yep.
those places.
The board.
I can find that,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can find
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I will email the town tomorrow.
And, if you could, okay. If you all could look at those letters, because there is language in there that we found
Just-
objectionable.
just-
So I would appreciate your comments,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, it's just, yeah, turn it around.
Mhm.
Okay.
An
Anything
official
else?
adjournment.
Anything? Meeting adjourned at 7:19.
So moved,
Seconded.
okay.
Aye.